Hello! Welcome back. You know who I am. I'm JJ. I run the account on Instagram, Study English with JJ. Advanced writing. I used to be a writer, a professional writer. It's true. And by professional, I mean I wrote and published 3 stories. 3. And I made $300. Maybe. But my background in writing helps me to teach writing, all forms, not just creative, even essay writing, more formal forms of writing, especially for the IELTS test. Task 2 is always an essay. 4 very general tips to improve your writing. 1. Avoid clichés. Clichés are overused phrases or idioms that don't count as produced language. They're just kind of memorized. A couple days ago, a follower on Instagram asked me about 3 phrases. The first one, bread and butter. If it's your bread and butter, it's something you're very comfortable with doing, something you're good at. Of course, my bread and butter is teaching phrasal verbs. I'm good at it. I'm comfortable with it. I think my bread and butter is teaching writing. But this is just not appropriate for formal forms of writing. It can be used in speaking, just like I said. A piece of cake. This is an easy one, and that's what it means. Something's easy for you. But again, this is better for speaking, not really useful for writing at all. And even in speaking, it's just an overly used cliche, a memorized idiom that doesn't count as produced language. I think it's time to avoid this one. However, it's not a piece of cake to find a replacement for a piece of cake. A blessing in disguise. This means something turns out to be good when you thought at the beginning it would be bad. The COVID-19 pandemic may be a blessing in disguise. We're experimenting with new forms of learning, online, new kinds of job and workplaces, working from home. Of course, lots of people got sick and many people have died. It is a disaster. But there's always a silver lining in any bad event. We can always find the good things in a bad situation. That's another cliche. It's an idiom, useful for speaking, but it's really overused. Do not use these in writing. Bread and butter, a piece of cake, a blessing in disguise, a silver lining, cliches. Pronouns in essay writing. A lot of people think that you can do this. You can say, I believe that, in my opinion. But an essay is very different than opinion. An essay is called an argument. An opinion, you don't really need to give a reason. It's just your feeling, just what is true or what you believe in for yourself. An argument is something different. You're trying to prove to someone or show to someone that something is true about the world. You're trying to make an objective statement, and you need to give reasons why this is true. Not why you think or believe it's true, but why it is true. That's an argument. And to give you some examples, I'll need to use the next point to show you how to use strong argumentative language. Simply don't use pronouns. I recommend avoiding pronouns however you can. I, my, me, mine. Don't use personal pronouns. Active versus passive. Sometimes called active or passive voice. In the active voice, we know who does the action. We know who the subject is. So let me give you an example. The fish swam quickly up the river. The subject is the fish. The action, the verb, is swam, past tense for swim. There's an adverb in there, quickly. That's an active sentence. There's actually no way to make that passive. But here's another example. Instead of writing in your essays, I think that, or I believe that, you can change it to the passive. It is believed that. It is said that. That's the passive form. The verb to be it is, plus past participle, believed that. It is believed that. This is much stronger, much more objective. It kind of sounds like it's a fact that you're trying to prove to us or show to us. So there's always ways to avoid personal pronouns in essays. Don't say, in my view. You can say, a common view is that. That's not really passive. Instead of saying, I want to say, you can say, it is said that. That's passive. And that makes it sound like many other people say this, which is much stronger than just saying, you think this, or you believe this. Use the passive form in essay writing. A story versus an anecdote. These are two commonly confused words. A story is quite long. A story has many events and a character, and many things happen. It has a beginning and a middle and an end. An anecdote is very short. It's one event. It has to be non-fiction. You can't just make up an anecdote. And it's usually something we tell to people. Here's an example of an anecdote. You're walking down the street. Huh! $20! I found $20! Then I bought some lottery tickets. I won $100! Woohoo! Then I bought 10 more lottery tickets. And, I lost. That's an anecdote. Just a simple event about finding money and buying some lottery tickets, and you didn't win anything. A story is quite different. It's much longer. It needs many events, and it needs a character. Usually that character has a name. A character that changes by the end of the story, that learns something new about themselves or about the world. That's a story. It can be fiction or non-fiction, but it's always going to have a character plus many events and somehow some resolution or change at the end of the story. This is a common task in English classes, even studying English as a language. The task is, say, write a story. But a lot of students will write an anecdote, just some sort of event that happened to them, and way too short, 100 words, and they think that's done. That's not a story. A story needs a character, it needs events, it needs a beginning, middle, and end. It needs conflict, it needs problems, and a solution at the end. That's a story. Of course, I can help you write a story. I can help you improve your essay writing. That's my job. I teach writing, mostly for essays. I'm called an essay coach. I used to be a professional proofreader. I can use Microsoft Word to use something called the track changes option to give you some notes, and I can send it back to you. You can see all the proofreading notes I have made. I can use Google Documents, of course. That's pretty common and popular and the easiest way. If you ever have any questions, feel free to make a comment. Follow my page, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want the shorter fun videos, go to my Instagram, Study English with JJ. And if you ever need help with essay writing or writing a story or anything, contact me. I know how to help you improve your writing.